Hello and welcome to my next entry of Jacko's Therapy. So last video I looked at Sonic the Hedgehog 1 for the SEGA Mega Drive that was released in 1991. So with the game's success, a sequel had to be made. So we have Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is released about a year later in 1992. As I mentioned in the last video, I've watched my family members played it, then I got my hands on it and I absolutely loved what I played. This is definitely one of my favourite Sonic games of all time and one of my favourite video games of all time. Now that I give you a quick verdict what I think about this game, so let's take a deeper look of what I think. So let's jump in and how this game came to be. So with the success of Sonic the Hedgehog, a sequel had to be made. So you would think the development of this game is pretty smooth sailing. Oh boy, you're so wrong there. The SEGA Mega Drive absolutely skyrocketed in sales worldwide thanks to Sonic 1 being bundled with the console at a much cheaper price than being Nintendo's. After the release of Sonic 1, programmer Yuji Naka quit SEGA of Japan due to disagreement over his salaries and a lack of support from the management. So the programmer Mark Kearney from the SEGA Technical Institute based in California contacted Yuji Naka to work alongside him. So Naka, also Hirokazu Yasuhara, and a few other Japanese developers joined the SEGA Technical Institute with combined design philosophies of American and Japanese developers. The only developer remained in Japan was Naoto Oshima to develop Sonic CD, which I'll look into next time. So with combined development of American developers and Japanese developers, it should be smooth sailing, but as I said before, that's not the case. You see, the majority of the staff from SEGA Technical Institute are Japanese, and why would that be a problem? Well, you see, it's due to cultural differences. While Americans actually have to leave work at the end of the shift to close down the offices, while Japanese are used to crunching conditions and also have a language barrier problem. So Kearney left halfway of the project, then left it for SEGA executive Masaharu Yoshii to take over as the director of this game due to rising tension between American and Japanese developers. Due to the stress of American developers, Sonic 2 would have a lot more levels than Sonic 1 and even a lot more content removed due to the Christmas deadline. If you actually play the beta version of Sonic 2, there are actually more levels are in the level select. Like more famously Hidden Palace Zone, Wood Zone, Genocide City and Dust Hill Zone, which are all scrapped due to time constraints. Though you can't play through these levels as they are unfinished. Also, SEGA decided to create a new character to join Sonic in his new adventure. Meet Miles Per Hour, created by Yasushi Yamaguchi, a two-tailed fox that can fly, a mechanical genius and a great friend for Sonic. Later on, the Americans felt that the name wouldn't sell due to the pun, so it changed to Tails, which I'm glad they stick due to it making it more sense. Tails is actually one of my favourite characters, a really good friend that always has our back and a little genius of Robotnik. So with all development problems, the game was released on November of 1992. The end result are overwhelmingly positive, due to critically acclaimed to be a worthy sequel and sold over 6 million copies. So with all that history lesson, what do I think of the game itself? So the story is simple as before. After defeating Dr. Robotnik in the first game, the Doctor once again required the 7 Chaos Emeralds this time instead of 6, so he can power up his power station called the Death Egg. Yeah, I know, intentionally a Star Wars reference. So Sonic, along with his buddy Tails, has to stop Dr. Robotnik from doing his evil doing. Again, nothing complicated. What about the game itself? First of all, I want to bring up about the graphics. This game looks amazing, a lot more colourful than Sonic 1. Definitely one of the best, if not the best looking game on the Mega Drive. I am dead serious. The colour patterns on the levels are the best. Even the backgrounds can tell you what kind of area you're in. And even I love the sprite works here. In terms of gameplay, it plays like Sonic 1, but there are a few changes. First off, the speed cap has been removed, so Sonic or Tails can go as fast as they please. At times they can even outrun the screen when you go really fast. It's also because of the new ability in this game, the Spin Dash. While holding down on the D-pad and then mashing the shit out of the button, Sonic or Tails will rev up and then let go of the D-pad and then you take off at a reasonable high speed. which is really helpful for getting up steep slopes or even useful for speeding through levels. Speaking of levels, the biggest improvement I feel did better than the original is the level design. My main complaint with Sonic 1 is the level design being too inconsistent for what the game is known for its fast-paced gameplay. That's changed here. All the levels in this game are absolutely blast to play through. Constant speed, different pathways to explore and finding different item boxes, fast or longer pathways to complete the stage. Also, the levels also have their own themes and gimmicks. For example, Aquatic Ruin, supposed to be a water level, but it's actually possible you can ignore the water completely by staying on top. Also Casino Night, where you play a few score attacks and a few slot machines so you can score a few rings. You can also lose rings by having 3 Robotniks. See? It's greed that cost you. Please gamble responsibly. Since the level design is better than Sonic 1, there are a couple of exceptions. Oil Ocean has some awkward enemy placement like those seahorses firing projectiles while they're on screen. Metropolis Zone is the same, but a lot worse, with Astrons hidden inside walls waiting for Sonic and Tails and explodes when they're nearby. Shellcrackers that has a weird hitbox where its weakness is on its back and sometimes for some reason it doesn't count. The worst of all, the Slicers. Their placement are absolutely cheap by placing them right in your path. Not only that, they can also appear above and shoot projectiles in an awkward to avoid. Finally, Sky Chase Zone is just too slow pretty much, it's just a waiting game. But it's only one act, so it doesn't take too long to finish. So Sonic 2 has a lot more levels than Sonic 1, but this time these stages actually have 2 acts instead of 3. Every second act in a zone has a fight against Dr. Robotnik and have new creative ideas to take out our heroes. In this game you can play as Sonic and Tails, or you can play them both individually. But Tails controls no different to Sonic. Although you see Tails fly down after he is outrun off screen or died, and he couldn't do that in this game. We won't see his flight ability until Sonic 3, so it's not really a big deal. But Tails couldn't collect Chaos Emeralds in this game. I wonder why. I suppose it's the easy mode? On the subject of Chaos Emeralds, the special stages are handled differently. They are instead hidden in checkpoints. If you have 50 rings, you jump into the special ring. Instead of a trippy maze, you run through this half pipe where you can collect the required amount of rings to progress. If you don't, the game will tell you that you didn't have enough and boot you out of the stage. I personally do not like the special stages, mainly because of its memorization in later stage. Not only that, they're really strict with the acquired amount of rings you need to collect. Like, you have to be almost nearly pixel perfect in order to get them. Another problem in this is Tails. Tails can also collect rings too. The problem is, Tails has like a second delay when you move, and that normally results him into hitting bombs. Damn it, Tails! Some friend you turn out to be. If you're going to get the best out of the special stages, grab a second player to play alongside you. Makes life a lot easier. Yes, Sonic 2 actually has some multiplayer elements. You can also have a co-op with a friend to control Tails, but it is actually kind of pointless considering you go so fast in this game you can easily off-screen them, and it takes a few seconds to respond. But there is also competitive multiplayer where you can participate in races, all 4 levels of Emerald Hill, Casino Night, Mystic Cave and the special stage. Not the best, but a nice attempt. But getting the emeralds doesn't really punish you for getting the good ending, but you get rewarded for getting the best power-up in the series, transforming into Super Sonic. That's not the only Dragon Ball Z reference we'll see in the series. Which, fun fact, the Dragon Ball Z series didn't air in the West until 1994, while it's aired in Japan in 1989. So it's a rip-off of DBZ, with DBZ ripping off Sonic. Anyway, Super Sonic. You can activate it by collecting 50 rings and jump, and there you go. You transform into a golden hedgehog, which has 2 times the speed, 2 times the jump height, and the best part, you are invincible. Although you can still die from bottomless pits and being crushed. The only annoying fact I have with Super Sonic is that when you have 50 rings and you don't want to transform and your only way to activate it is to jump, you don't really have a choice to do it. It's my only complaint that I have for this. And it's also another reason why I don't often get the Chaos Emeralds in this game. Again, it doesn't really affect the ending. The only difference is that Sonic falls on top of the plane and Tails saves him, and the other is just Super Sonic flying alongside him. So it's actually pointless for Tails to fly and save him. So I prefer Tails saving him, just to show friendship between the two. And even Tails showing up on the screen seeing the Death Egg explodes and want to know that if his friend's alright. Although if you're playing this on the HD version via mobile and Sonic Origins, where the ending actually means something if you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, not only you get a different ending, but there's also a little preview where Robotnik jumping up and down in frustration while a mysterious figure is hiding in the bushes. But that's not until the next game. While I'm on the subject of the HD port, if you want a definitive version of Sonic 2, then it's this one. Not only is it has widescreen support, you also have elemental shields from Sonic 3. The special stages are a lot easier to play with its 3D effects of the half pipe. You can also collect rings easier, even if the Tails AI almost is non-issue. There's also a playable hidden palace zone which you can access by falling into that infamous pit in Mystic Cave. It's only one act and it also has its own boss fight. And last of all, you have multiple playable characters. Even with the Sonic Origins recently added Amy as a playable character, the only real complaint I have is that Tails doesn't go super in this version. In the original, you can't get the Chaos Emeralds at all. Here, he can collect the Chaos Emeralds, but he doesn't go super, while everyone else can. I mean, why? Is he too young, or doesn't he understand the power of the Emeralds? Last thing I want to mention, last of all, is this game's music. I mentioned in Sonic 1 that Masato Nakamura composed the music for Sonic 1 in this game, and oh boy did he end it on a high note. Sonic 2's soundtrack is incredible. The level themes are incredibly catchy, which in fact, I'm going to say I love all the music in this game. I can't even pick one that sticks out, that's how good it is. Even the ending music is actually part of the Dreams Come True song Sweet Sweet Sweet, which is a great song. So overall, with all the development struggles to make a better game than Sonic 1, I think this game exceeds expectations, with a great level design, great graphics and fantastic music. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is an overall a fantastic and a near perfect video game in my opinion. Of course I'm going to recommend that you play it for yourself. It's a game that anybody can pick up and play. For a few of you that want to try out with the classic series, I recommend this as your starting point to get into this. Get it on Sonic Origins on PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and on the Nintendo Switch if you can. But I have a nostalgic bias towards the original. As I said, it doesn't punish you for getting the good and bad ending. You just go through the levels from beginning to end, with or without getting the Chaos Emeralds or not, from blasting through levels at high speed, defeating the final boss against Robotnik in the Death Egg, and beating it at the end makes me feel like I accomplished something and even introduced me into the video game world. I absolutely love this and I cannot stress enough, you should absolutely go and play it for yourself. And I'll say it again, play for yourself and you'll see what I mean. So with Sonic 2 out of the way, I'm going to take a sidestep from Sonic from now on, since I'm doing a marathon of Sonic Superstars when it comes out. But I'm going to take a sidestep to a certain Italian plumber that also has another game coming out. That's right, I'm doing Mario. So I'll see you guys next time with Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo Entertainment System. But if you don't particularly care about that, I'll see you in Sonic CD. So, I'll see you guys later.